Mr. President.
Senator from California.
Mr. President, I ask that the quorum call be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, we're having a lot of trouble moving judges, but today we are moving a judge, Judge Dale Drozd, for the Eastern District Court of California. And it's taken a year since his nomination. It'll be a year in November to get to this point. The Eastern District Court of California is in a state of judicial emergency, so I am so glad we're going to add this good man to the court. Cases are piling up. It's because we don't have enough judges to review them, so Judge Drozd's leadership is desperately needed. This position on the Eastern Bench, again, has been vacant since October of 2012, and Judge Drozd is an excellent candidate to fill it. He received his bachelor's degree in 1977 from California State University at San Diego and his law degree from University of California at Los Angeles, where he was a member of the Order of the Coif. He began his legal career as a law clerk for a district judge in the same judicial district where he now serves. Following his clerkship, he worked in private practice in Sacramento and San Francisco for 15 years. In 1997, he was appointed to serve as a magistrate judge in the Eastern District of California, and 4 years later, he became the chief magistrate judge. Judge Drozd's 18 years on the bench, serving the people of the Eastern District, and his previous years in private practice make him an excellent candidate to fill this vacancy. He also received a unanimous, well-qualified rating from the American Bar Association. He is a non-controversial nominee who has bipartisan support, including praise from 2 judges in the Eastern District who were both appointed by President George W. Bush. Judge Lawrence O'Neill wrote to me and said, quote, "At this point of desperation in the Eastern District of California, every day of delay makes an enormous difference. Needing help is a severe understatement." This is what a judge who was appointed by George W. Bush says. Any person in a position of authority relating to the confirmation of this nominee should focus on his bipartisan support. Mr. President, I think that's important. This nominee has broad support from both political parties. Chief Judge Morrison C. England said that Judge Drozd has all the attributes needed to be an outstanding addition to the district court bench in Fresno. And he continues, "I know he has bipartisan support, and I certainly support and encourage his confirmation at the earliest possible time." So I am so glad we're voting to confirm Judge Drozd today. The people of the Eastern District of California really need his leadership, and the overworked judges of the Eastern District really need his help. And I hope maybe we can start to move these nominees forward. Mr. President, if I might speak on another topic at this time, I just wanted to send my condolences to those who were impacted by the tragic shooting, mass shooting in Oregon. And as many have said, as we pray for those who are fighting to survive and for the families who are grieving, we have to do more than pray. We have to stop this. Now, I know you can't stop every single tragedy from happening, but I have to say, if you look at my home state, we have passed some very common sense laws. We don't have a gun show loophole. That's important. If it's important to get a background check from a federally licensed dealer, it's important to get a background check at a gun show. It's important to get a federal background check online. We have to make it harder for people who want to get guns for nefarious reasons, not to protect their families, but sometimes actually harm their families, harm their communities. And I wanted to say that Senator Feinstein and I, after going through one of these horrible experiences with some of our communities, we introduced a bill which would give parents and families of mentally disturbed young people a chance to go to court and intervene so that that individual would not have this weaponry. Because we knew in the last incident in California where a gunman came down and just shot up people sitting in a cafe, we knew that the mother was desperate to try and warn law enforcement that this was going to happen and to intervene. But there was no pathway that she could go. So this bill, we call it the Gun Violence Intervention Act, is very simple. It says if a family member knows and believes that someone in their family is mentally unstable and is buying guns and may well use it, give that family member a pathway forward to intervene in the situation. I don't know who could be against this, because a judge will be objective if somebody's doing it, if a mom is doing it just out of whole cloth and there's no reason, the judge won't allow it. Now, I'm proud to say that California has passed an identical bill, pretty much identical bill, and it will go into effect in 2016. And then in California, if you see someone in your family who you know is acting strange, who you know is making threats, who you know is buying weapons, you have the ability to intervene and take your story to a judge and prevent these kinds of tragedies. That's just one example of some of the common sense measures we should be taking here. So my heart goes out to the families, but I have to say, I agree with the critics who say, just don't come to the Senate floor and say your heart goes out to the families. That's not enough. And so I'm calling on this Senate to do something. And I know Wednesday we're going to have a press conference that Senator Blumenthal has organized to talk about a very important but small loophole closing that he is recommending that we do. At this time, I would yield the floor. In the remaining time, I would give it to Senator Nelson.